Happy birthday, Valerie. All in this frozen castle, she struggled to survive and have turned 19 today. But even now, the people outside must be hoping for her death. Back in time, she is the former Princess Valerie, to be bestowed the MacLeod Castle. Nobles chat. Isn't it too merciful of a punishment? She deserves to be executed like her mother. She is the daughter of a high traitor who tried to poison the Empress to death. Then they ask His Majesty to retract his order. The Emperor stated, "Shut their mouths, he will consider those who have more to say willing to follow her to MacLeod." Confinement in a frozen castle. It's no different from a death punishment, but her stepbrother chose this as the best option to pardon her death, although she had done nothing at all. A frozen castle on the peak of a snow mountain, the MacLeod Castle. This mountain, which was once full of greenery, froze up 500 years ago. As the emperor of that time, he defeated the monster which had freezing ability. The moment the emperor's sword stabbed that monster's heart, force exploded out, which froze the whole mountain in the blink of an eye, followed by frozen villages and hundreds of casualties. Even after 500 years, the forest remains unchanged and still retains the terror of that incident as if it were yesterday. Was getting exiled to such a place not enough? She had to also gain the freezing ability of that monster. Her life is so unfortunate. What is there to hope from this life that doesn't allow even a bit of warmth? Humans cannot live without warmth. Reaching her 19th birthday today, now with the one thing she possesses, she will commit her first sin. Yes, this has to be right. Finally, it's warm. Oh God, if anyone is listening as far as this place, please just hear this one prayer. She begs, the next time, let her be born in a place that is not too cold. The next scene, her mother shouts she is a useless thing. Valerie thought, Mother, flashes of the past, how come this moment? Her mother shouted things like her should not have been born. Valerie thought of all the memories. Why does she have to see this one till the very end? Let her have peace. Her mother shouted again. Every time she sees her, it's like she is walking on the fire of hell. Her mother is the former Empress Alicia, unsatisfied even with this status of the Empress, soon fell into decadence. With Millard succeeding to the imperial throne, her mother who found herself at loose ends had all her blame placed on the newborn child she was. As she was young then, she really thought she was at fault, so she kept her mouth shut and without a sound, she endured. Alicia stated, she dares think about something else, even a thing like her friends is laughable now. Valerie thought, it hurts, she definitely died. This is perhaps she has returned to the past while still having her freezing ability. If this is her retribution, this is way too cruel. The next scene, a maid said, this has been sent by His Majesty, the Emperor. Alicia asked, what did Millard do? The maid replied, yes, he is bestowing it to Her Royal Highness, the Princess. Alicia spoke. Did he go crazy? At least, this is great news, just put it wherever. At night, Valerie thought, this music box brought me kind words, those of which she had never heard since she was born into this world. After some time, Alicia stated, tell her wounds to all heal, quietly stay shut in her room. If she even steps 1 foot out without her permission, she better prepare herself. Well, not that she can even if she wanted to anyway. Valerie thought, why did she endure? Alicia shouted, is there anyone over there? Catch her. Valerie thought, it hurts, where should she go? Come to think of it, when she was in the snowy mountains, the Emperor was the one who kept sending her supplies. Now, too, he might help her. The maids spoke, they got her. She runs well even in this state. Royal Highness, please keep her dignity. Valerie tried to speak, save her. The maid told her, if she follows them obediently, Her Highness the former Empress will surely forgive her. Valerie thought, what should she do? It's the end if they take her away now. Should she freeze them with her ability? No, just what is she thinking? She can't be a monster herself because she possesses the ability of one, please, anyone. Then she saw a child, then thought, if she goes any further, then shouted, help her. The maids told her, Royal Highness, stay quiet. Valerie thought, Take a hint, please, tell his father of this situation. After that, Alicia spoke, so she quietly caught her without running into anyone. No matter who comes by, what happens in this secluded place never makes it to Millard. Her efforts really were in vain. She dares shove her and run away. She got determined to defy her now. Is that it? She should put her back in place again. Suddenly, they heard the maid's voice. Her Highness, the former Empress. This is serious. Outside are the Emperor's knights, Valerie thought. That child told him. Alicia asked. He said no one saw. How did Millard? Hurry, clean the room. The maid asked. How about the princess? The next moment, Alicia stated, watch her, don't let her nor her scream get out. Then she said, stay still, as if she were dead, she still has things to talk about with her. Then the Imperial Knights arrived. After the introduction, Alicia asked, what brings the Imperial Knights all the way here? The captain replied, His Majesty has ordered them to come and check Her Highness, the princess's state. Alicia said, she doesn't recall them being so close that he will make a visit here. The captain spoke, he simply came here to follow his orders. Alicia told him, she understands his intentions, but now it's not the right time. Convey it to him that the princess is napping after having her etiquette lesson. The captain asked, do she mean that she will be disobeying his orders? Alicia replied, that's right, as she said. Do they really have to wake the princess up just for her to show her face to the likes of him? Just because she is the obsolete empress, her words seem like nothing to him. Unless the emperor comes in person, she refuses to show him her child. The captain spoke, apologize for disturbing her rest, Valerie thought. No, if he just leaves like that, then she will again. Suddenly, all of them thought, what is this commotion? His Majesty, the emperor, arrived. The captain spoke, His Majesty, he is sorry, but the princess is. The emperor stated, he knew this would happen, so he came here in person. Alicia spoke, why would such a busy figure come to this place? If he must check on her state, why don't they agree on a letter time and day? The emperor replied, no, he is here to see his younger sister. Do he need a reason? Tell him, where is Valerie? Alicia replied, now that he is here, His Majesty, Valerie will be surprised to hear about his arrival. Apologies, they are not close enough to exchange greetings, are they? Then she thought, he wouldn't even pay attention to her for the past 9 years. What brings him here now? Then she asked, he must have a reason for existing, on waking up the child and seeing her. The emperor stated, well, he has received word that the one and only princess of our empire was being dragged away by her mere servants. Alicia spoke, what is he talking about? They do not know anything of this sort, the emperor stated. He didn't know that all the palace servants were in cahoots. All of them search through the palace and find Her Royal Highness. Alicia shouted, why is he overreacting? How could he cause such a ruckus upon coming here due to hearsay? Then the Crown Prince Erlance came and said, no, that is not some hearsay, because he saw it with his own eyes and reported the incident. Alicia thought, of all people, it had to be the Crown Prince who saw it, that entitled brat. How dare he? The emperor asked, before the knights find Valerie, it would be better for her to bring Valerie here on her own accords and confess. Alicia replied, she doesn't know, and thought, she doesn't know anything until the very end. The next moment she shouted, why is he doing this to her? Crown Prince stated, please open up the closet behind her. He thinks Valerie is being hidden inside. Alicia was shocked. The closet door was open. Valerie was there. The prince said, hello, she doesn't have to worry anymore. He has come to save her. It must be hurt. Please hold on for a little longer. Valerie thought, they meet at least. Now she can't hesitate here. Valerie stated, His Majesty, please help her. Please save her. She will be doing anything he wants. So please help. Alicia spoke, what on earth is she doing? The emperor stated, he doesn't even have to ask what this is about. Arrest the main perpetrator, Her Highness the former Empress Alicia, and all the housekeepers and servants of Roni Palace, who aided her abuse toward the princess. Then he said, Valerie, leave the rest to the knights. Let's get out of here. Valerie was shocked, because Alicia shouted, Valerie, she is a wench. Does she think she can live on while treating her own mother this way? The emperor said, her true colors have shown, so since she wanted it this way, let's weigh the gravity of her words one by one. Captain, please hold a strict interrogation of all the previous incidents. Then the emperor spoke. He is sure she is in shock. Let's hurry and leave. Valerie got frightened. The emperor stated, how careless of him. Apologize, but he will not harm her. It must be hard for her to walk in this state. He hopes she can grant him permission to carry her. Now let's head to Ferrand's palace. Valerie thought. She received the help she wanted. But all this warmth feels so unfamiliar. Up until just now, she was withering away alone in this icy cold palace. Is this truly happening to her? What if it was all a dream? The prince asked. Is he badly hurt? Valerie replied, no, she is okay. Then she thought, indeed, there is no way these kind gazes are of a dream. In this warmth, she wants to bask in it for a little longer. The next scene, the head butler greeted His Highness, then asked if he should call the imperial doctor. The emperor replied, yes, he will leave Valerie to them. Where is the empress and the empress dowager? After some chat, the emperor stated, bring the princess here once she has completed her treatment. Also, Rail, he will leave Valerie in her hands. The maid said, greetings, your highness. The emperor thought he really can't get used to this relationship. At first glance, they may look like two little kids, but one is the aunt and the other is the nephew. Then he said their palace will be turbulent for the time being. He thought Alicia hid her daughter due to her overprotectiveness, but he was wrong, it was worse than he thought. When the imperial doctor arrives, tell him he wants a detailed checkup on Valerie's condition. After some time, both the empress and the empress dowager were there. The emperor stated, Mother and Lila, he need to discuss something with them. On the other hand, Valerie thought she is currently around the age of 9. Imagine growing up in a bright and harmonious family for comfort, just like that child. He is looking at her injuries. Valerie said sorry. The prince asked if she did something wrong to him. Valerie spoke. He saw many things he didn't have to see. She is sure he is very shocked. Then she thought it must have taken a toll on a kid like him. The prince replied, what? She doesn't have to apologize for something like that. Instead of apologizing, she should be thanking him. This is what his mother told him. Valerie said thanks for helping her. The prince replied, he appreciates it. Valerie thought when light gathers and becomes a person, is this what they will look like? This is how it feels to be thankful. After some time, the doctor arrived. Valerie thought she is the best out of the 3 imperial doctors. Incredible, she can't believe she gets to see her in person. The doctor said her greatest apologies. His Highness, would he excuse them? This is necessary for treatment, please. After that, the doctor thought in normal childhood, children weep and scream when they are in pain. She is being too quiet. Perhaps this is how she coped. Then she said the treatment is done. Valerie asked, do she have to show her the scars under her clothes? She has to report back to His Majesty about her condition. The doctor asked if she was aware of the command she received. Valerie replied, it was a lucky guess, or else she wouldn't have sent Prince away. Then she thought she has to show her scars, leaving Ronin Palace for the sake of the future. She was trembling. The doctor spoke, and she assisted her. Valerie replied, yes. Then after the checkup, Valerie thought, why is the atmosphere so solemn? His Majesty must have informed both of them. Do they believe her? The emperor stated, so firstly, they have read the referral note written by the royal doctor. It must have been hard for her. Thanks for her courage. Nothing is left to be investigated as he was there in person, but they need concrete evidence to strip the former empress of her title. Empress Lila stated, they are gathered here to hear about her story. If it's all right with her, could she tell them what happened? Valerie replied, yes, she will tell them everything. Then she started telling them what had happened to her. Then at the end, she said it was very painful, lonely, and scary. And she didn't want to live that way anymore. That's why she ran out. The emperor asked why she didn't try to ask for help. Then he said no. That was an improper remark. They should have sensed it right off the bat. Valerie stated she is a troubled monster. No one will love her or come to help her, even if she tells His Majesty the Emperor. Her efforts will be in vain because she is the terrible daughter of his nemesis. Mother always said that to her, that's why she could not reach out for help, as she said she is the daughter of his nemesis. Empress Dowager spoke. What is the former empress thinking? The emperor said he could not have imagined. She blamed her wrongdoing on her daughter and threatened her. He was not aware her servants were all in on it. He didn't suspect anything when they said she had been raising her lovingly. He sincerely apologized for not finding out sooner. Crown Prince hugged her and said she is not a monster. The monsters are the bad people who hurt her, so don't get hurt from now on. Valerie started crying. Empress Lila stated, Yes, Valerie. Now everything will be all right. It must have been so hard to bear this alone. Now she can rely on them. After some time, the emperor's mother said they would better stop showing Alicia leniency because of her child. The emperor replied he is thinking the same. Mother, they shall discuss what to do for her punishment. The next morning, the prince asked if she slept well. Valerie asked where they are. The prince replied, This is father's chamber. Valerie stated, His eyes are puffy. The prince replied, Her eyes are also puffy too. Then they started laughing. Valerie thought as she had woken up early in the morning after the winter season passed. Outside the window, new sprouts have bloomed on the trees, signaling the start of spring. The next scene, the maids spoke. They are innocent. It was inevitable. They were only doing what they were told. They can provide a detailed statement about the incident. The emperor stated, Alicia, all her servants are attesting to her abuse. Does she have anything to say about that? Alicia did not respond. After some time, the incident regarding Alicia's abuse spread like wildfire around the palace, and reached beyond the palace. The emperor thought they will need a valid reason to forfeit Alicia's status and punish her accordingly. After that, both of them arrived. The emperor stated, Valerie, listen to the next few words he have to tell her. He intend to sentence Alicia to death. Valerie thought it's the same ruling as her first life. Her mother has induced 2 separate poisoning cases in her past life. At first, there was an attempt to poison the Empress Dowager. This case has strained relationships with royal officials. Then came the poisoning incident to Empress Lila, who hasn't regained her consciousness. Her second pardon was inexcusable. Hence, she had received the death penalty. The emperor stated, Don't think having the former empress's throat cut is her fault. As she may know, Alicia failed to assassinate his mother. Her crime has consequences. None of this is her fault. Valerie thought he is worried about her. He is afraid that she will blame herself for her mother's death. She has prepared herself for this since she came here. She doesn't feel guilty. Then she said she is okay. The emperor spoke. The execution will commence 2 days from now. She is deprived of her status and currently locked up in jail. Valerie asked, Does she admit to abusing her? The emperor replied, No, she is still denying it. The former empress and the servants are dragging each other down, in hopes of getting a reduced sentence. All their confessions match her statement, so their punishment will be more severe. Valerie spoke. She will comply with his orders. Thanks for helping her, the emperor stated. Raise her head. He have only done what is right. Then he thought she is definitely the same age as Crown Prince, but she is already grown up so fast. The emperor said that reminds him Erlance. He addressed Valerie by name, though she is the same age as he is, but they should strictly address each other as her brother and aunt. Valerie thought, Aunt, brother, the prince spoke, but he wants them to call each other by their names. The emperor replied, That's not for him to decide. He should at least ask Valerie for permission. The prince asked her about this matter. Valerie replied she understands he can call her by name. The prince stated he is so excited, he will be in her care. 2 days later, Valerie thought in a short while, her mother will be sent to the execution site. His Majesty issued an order prohibiting the 2 of them from leaving the palace. Indeed, a proper adult won't show such a terrible sight to a child. The prince stated, Let's go. She wants to see what that person looks like right now. He has a way to sneak out. The next moment, Emperor's right-hand man, Sir Berno, asked where they were going. The prince said he knew Sir Berno would be here. He had a favor to ask. to take them to the palace gate. Brno replied, apologizing that it was not a request he could fulfill. The prince spoke. It's not a request without any compensation because he thought thanks have a trade-off. The culprit who broke father's treasure vase a year ago was not mother but him. Brno asked how he knew that, addressing his highness, these horrifying beliefs, so alike, both of them are so alike. Then he saw the princess that she can help. Valerie spoke. Please, she begs him. They will watch quietly from a distance. Brno thought, Her Highness, the princess is being so desperate. The prince stated thanks, and his secret will remain hidden. After that, the second division, who is in charge of criminals transfer, arrived. The emperor asked what they were doing here. He would definitely issue an order for them not to leave the premises. Care to explain, Sir Brno? Sir Brno did not know what to say. Suddenly, Alicia said, Valerie, the ungrateful thing, does she think she can be loved by them after betraying her own mother? She should have gotten rid of that monster. Valerie thought hearing her threats doesn't care her anymore. She looks miserable and wretched. She can't believe she was in so much pain because of her. The emperor spoke. This is why he didn't want her to cross paths. Then he said, What are they doing? Get her out of the children's sight. Alicia bit one of the knight's hands. Then she shouted, Valerie, she is a fool. Does she think the imperial family will keep protecting her? The moment she loses her worth, she will be discarded like trash. She should have a good look, so this is how she will die. The emperor stated, Do they not know how to shut a crazed felon up? Get going. The prince stated, Don't take it to heart. Valerie replied, She will not be hurt by her words anymore, and goodbye. Valerie thought she stood there until her mother left the main gate, and disappeared from view. Her mother's figure became smaller and smaller. All emotions disappeared. Yes, this is the end. Emperor said the second division needs to receive another round of training. Also, Brno, he is no exception. Valerie asked, Will this be okay? The prince replied, It's fine. Father tends to let him off easily. Emperor stated, And the two brats, they are not in a position to worry about others. He will hear their excuses when he gets back. Prepare themselves. Valerie got frightened. Emperor said Brno, Escort the children back to the palace. Valerie did not expect that was coming. Then, at Valerie, what happened recently still doesn't feel real. Besides the fact that she reincarnated, everything else has gone well so far. What if everything was just a figment of her imagination? The prince asked, What's wrong? Is she still upset about what happened earlier? Valerie replied, No, it's just everything feels unreal to her. Don't worry about it. The prince spoke, Please remember one thing, they are a family, and he adore her very much. She don't have to be anxious because what Alicia said will never come true. Valerie thought she really deserves a family. She asked, Can she really become a part of their family? The prince stated, We were family from the moment we were born. Do she hate the idea of that? Valerie replied, No, she likes it. Thanks for everything. Brno came and told them Alicia's execution has ended, and His Majesty will be returning to the palace soon. Valerie thought it seemed like he has something else to say. Then she said she is glad it ended without any problems. And also, she apologized for causing him trouble. Sir Renamen, Brno spoke. She can call him by his name. Also, it's nothing she should apologize for. Wasn't it a good trade-off? She must keep it secret as she promised. Valerie replied, Her lips are sealed shut. After that, Brno said, What do they plan to do when His Majesty comes back? He will get his punishment for running with the sand back on his back. What will they do? After discussing something, Valerie said, Is he serious? The prince replied, This is a method only she can pull off. This way, father probably won't yell at her. After some time, the emperor asked, Go on. Let's see what kind of excuses they have prepared. Valerie spoke. She wanted to see her downfall with her own eyes. That's the only way she can gain closure, to confirm she has truly escaped from her abuse. Is he going to scold her? Then she thought her body tensed when she reflexively stood up. Her neck. Did it work? She didn't think so. Emperor replied no. Valerie was happy that it worked. Emperor stated he won't scold her, instead, she will be punished. Valerie got frightened. Emperor said from now on, he will pat her head without warning, and he hopes she starts getting used to it. This is his punishment for her. Does she hate it? He won't force it on her if she is scared. Valerie replied no, she likes it. Then Emperor said good. It's getting late now. They may return to their quarters. Children, 3 of them said yes, sir. Emperor stated Bruno only specified that the children could live. They still have matters to discuss. When did he grow so shameless? Bruno asked, is he going to scold him? Emperor spoke. He is in so much shock that he almost died of cardiac arrest. Bruno was this close to being convicted of regicide. Bruno asked what? Why doesn't that work with him? Emperor replied doing that with a physique like his, he has no conscience. Go get the sandbag and run laps around the gymnasium. On the other hand, Valerie thought it didn't take long for the public to find out about Alicia's execution. It's probably also the reason why Sir Bruno returned with a weird expression. Before Alicia could be dragged to the guillotine, she was killed by a stone throw by the enraged people. The incident that sent people into a frenzy was the belated use of the poisoning attempt of the Empress Dowager. Because the Empress took great care of the people of the country, people who could not forget her kindness took matters into their own hands. The circumstances were much different compared to her past life. Her abuse was revealed before Alicia had poisoned Lila, and unlike before where everyone had hoped for her demise, the public has expressed more compassion. But that also will come to an end once her power is revealed. It is inevitable, since the public still harbors an underlying fear toward glaciokinesis. However, all the items prepared by the Emperor and Empress in this room could have been replaced with all the furniture from Ronin Palace, but this must be how much they care about her. Have she gotten used to the idea of family in the meantime, if she is living with these kind-hearted people, making her feel guilty for hiding powers from the Emperor, so she has to tell him? Whether he received help for revealing the truth to His Majesty or not, whatever happens, she will accept the outcome. The next scene, Valerie thought, is the Emperor, so wouldn't it be better to prove the usefulness of her power by turning it into an advantage? But how? She is incompetent. The prince asked if something happened while he was gone. Valerie replied no, she is fine. After some time, Valerie thought she must hurry and find a way. Then she heard the maids discussing the weather. It is so warm they can't afford ice. They could eat it all summer if they could. Valerie thought, that's it. After some time, Valerie said she would like to wash up alone today. Is that all right? The maids thought, did they do something wrong? Then one of them asked Her Highness, please tell them if they have made her uncomfortable somehow. Valerie replied, no, it's nothing like that, it's just she would like to try washing up alone, since she is not a child anymore. The maids replied, oh, okay. After the maids left, Valerie used her ice power to start the training. Her powers have remained the same. She is not sure why they have, even after she has regressed. Rather than having her powers exposed, it would be better to prove her worth. Perhaps given her young age, it's harder to control it as delicately as she could before. Once she recovers her skill, she will go to His Highness. If she shows even the slightest hint of crudeness, she will be considered a dangerous being. Then the days go on. A maid asked if she wishes to bathe on her own again today. This is the 10th day in a row. Then they chat. Does she feel insecure about showing her scars to others? Her Highness just needs more time. Let's all wait for her patiently. Valerie thought. Now that was good. Her powers are ready. Now the only thing that's left is, she would rather not think about it, but if her plan were to go astray, she will have to run away. Even if it means having to use her powers, she won't go back to the snowy mountains. The next scene, Valerie stated if he is preoccupied, should she come back later? Emperor replied, no, don't worry about it. He can finish this much in no time, and he can't possibly send off his sister who has something to say to him. The next moment, Valerie said she would like to ask a favor from him. Emperor stated, please stand up. What kind of favor is it? Valerie spoke. Please let her stay in the palace under his protection, Your Majesty. Emperor stated, if that's what this is about, don't worry about it. It's only natural for her to reside in the palace as part of the royal family. Valerie spoke. The truth is, there is something she has yet to tell him, and upon hearing of this, she doesn't know if he would change his mind. She has glaciokinesis, which means she can control ice. Valerie thought, what should she do? Should she make a run for it? Emperor stated. He finally understand why she was anxious despite his assurance. Did Alicia know about her powers? Valerie replied, no, she was never caught by anyone, including Mother, although she could have kept it to herself forever. She did want to repay his kindness in that way. She knew it's not her place to make such a request, but she hoped he could help her just this once. Emperor replied, he will. She looked like she was in disbelief, having the owner of the very power that brings fear to the entire empire. Stay in the palace is indeed dangerous. But he knew she is not a child who will abuse her powers to harm someone. If that was her intent, something bad would have happened already. The first person to be met with her demise will be Alicia. However, the person who showed up, riddled with scars, was her. That's the reason why he accepted her request. He hoped she could prove that he made the right choice, just like today. Valerie thought, she is sure this decision bears countless risks and dangers, yet he still chooses to believe her. Then she said she is sorry. Emperor told her at times like this, she should not be apologizing, but thanking him. Valerie replied, thanks for believing in her, Emperor said. Thanks for being brave. Then he asked, he is curious to know the extent to which she can control her power. Valerie stated she can't control it well. Rather than explaining with words, she thinks it will be better if she showed him. They will need to go somewhere she can leave traces, Emperor said. Then they can head to the bathroom, it's right next door. After that, she created a cube, sphere, airlance, Emperor stated, as she knows nothing stays a secret forever. In order to prepare for the worst, why don't they use her powers for good? Valerie replied, how about using her powers to sell ice and raise money to help those in need? Emperor replied, the most evident problem for the ice business is the lack of technical skills to prevent the ice from melting, but things will be different now that they have her. Then he thought, if the supply of ice becomes brisk, it will definitely enhance the lives of the masses. Even if her powers were discovered, nobody could easily question her treatment as royal, Emperor said. Very well, let's do as she suggested. Valerie said, the remaining fund from the donation will go to him, Emperor replied, him. Then he started laughing and said she didn't have to repay him. She is still at the age to be on the receiving end. She can keep all the money and donate it to multiple places. Her generosity will become the strength that protects her. Suddenly, Emperor said, a bracelet. Why didn't she wear it? It rolled out of her pocket. So, this is a piece of jewelry she took as her abscond fund. Valerie was thinking she should have run away. Emperor laughed. Everything in her room belongs to her, and yet she chose the most chaste-looking one. Her face got all red. Valerie said, he is so mean. Emperor replied, sorry. He will stop with the teasing. She can go now. After that, Emperor thought, right. There was a person who was perfect for this task. That person is Matthias Oswaldo, the Emperor's younger brother, who flatly refused to be inaugurated as a Grand Duke to carry on his unmarried uncle lineage. He eventually became Duke Oswaldo. After some days, the Emperor said he must have entered the capital, so he will be arriving soon. Valerie thought she knows he is the most suitable candidate for this matter, but the problem is whether he acknowledged her or not, because the Duke is the one who resents her and Mother the most. When Karina had almost died of poisoning, he was one who witnessed it. He almost lost his mother before his own eyes. The next moment, the Duke said, brother, he is here. Valerie thought, has he always been like this? He seemed very different from what she remembered. Since he is not wearing glasses, he probably doesn't see her. The Duke said he feels better. This would not have happened if they were to proceed as planned. He has traveled for consecutive days to get here. Why did he ask him to return home? People are going to think that he embezzled his money. The Emperor stated he has an investment proposal, so he called him here to invest in his business, but he will also be in charge of operating the business. This is about an ice business. He has to replace the lacking technology. It's bound to be successful no matter what, the Duke said. Why does he keep beating around the bush? The Emperor replied, and the method is to use the power he has. Her name is Valerie. The Duke said he should have told him if someone was here. Then he wore the glasses. Suddenly, the Duke shouted, "Why is she here? What does he mean by using her power?" Emperor stated he called him so two of them can get acquainted and start getting along as business partners. As the word power suggests, Valerie, they will be using her glaciokinesis powers to operate. There are certain risks and dangers when using her powers to make ice, so he would like her to take another role. Valerie asked, "What kind of role?" Emperor said, "To maintain the coldness of the ice, she has to make sure she doesn't leave any traces. Can she do that?" Duke asked. "What are they talking about?" Emperor said, "Show him." Valerie used her power to create ice balls. Then she said she has condensed cold air inside the small ice chunks. Once it's hidden in the transport vehicle, the coldness will last for a long time. Duke said, "Right, if they have her powers, then it's the same as having guaranteed success. That much he will admit. But that's as far as he will go. He has to work with that insidious woman's daughter." Then Emperor explained the whole incident. Duke was in tears and said, "How much is it? How much do he need?" Valerie thought, "A man so cold-blooded he sheds no blood even after getting stabbed, who doesn't even bat an eye when people drop dead like flies. Truly, she was a fool for believing in those rumors." She asked, "Did he know this was going to happen all this time?" Emperor replied, "Despite his cold looks, that punk is sentimental. He is the person who empathizes with stories like these the most." After that, the Emperor stated he can clear out a Terra Palace. It's for Valerie. It's not like she can stay at Erlance's quarters forever without a palace of her own. The Duke spoke, "In that case, he will vacate the palace since he doesn't live there anyways." Valerie said, "He don't have to do that for her." The Duke replied, "He said he is giving it to her, so just accept it. According to the contract, he will have to come see her often." Valerie said, "Then she will accept with gratitude." Emperor asked if it's okay with her. He is thinking of disposing of everything in Ronin Palace. What are her thoughts? Valerie replied, "She doesn't mind. But there is something she would like to take with her. It's something precious to her." After Valerie left, the Emperor thought, "What is he doing here? Go after her. At least be her henchman to atone for treating her harshly just now." On the way, the Duke thought, "She is petite, so she probably can't take much." Then in the palace, he thought, "Does she really have something to take from that mess?" Suddenly, he was shocked and remembered that he asked the Emperor to give it to that woman's daughter. If he had known it was for her, he would not have done it from the start. The Emperor told him she is the same age as Erlance, she is just a child, and he replied that's the only thing he can care about. Now back in the present time, Valerie hurt her hand while getting the gift. The Duke shouted, "Oh no! She is an idiot, just wither off and die. That was her precious thing. The music box is cracked. It's dangerous for young kids like her." Valerie stated, "Even if it is, she won't throw it away." The Duke said, "He is not asking her to throw it away, he is saying he will carry it for her. Is there anything else she needs?" Valerie replied, "No." The Duke told her, "Then come with him, they will be heading to a Terra Palace." After some time, the Duke said, in all honesty, he despised her for being that wench's daughter. As an only child, he thought she was extremely doted on. She resembled her so much that he thought he didn't have to see her in a positive light either. However, after hearing what she went through, he had judged an innocent person by their appearance and resented them for it. He knows it's already too late, but he wants to apologize for judging her on his own accord. From the bottom of his heart, he is sorry for his terrible attitude and for hurting her. He is not asking for forgiveness, he will provide with his actions. Then she can decide whether to accept the apology or not. Valerie spoke. Since he is being honest, she is well aware of the reason he hated her. It was inevitable that she received hate, but that doesn't mean it didn't hurt her. Regardless, she wants to thank him for apologizing to her first, and she also believes he is being sincere. Hence, she will accept his apology. All she wants is for him to keep his promise, brother. Duke spoke, As expected. He is an idiot. He deserves to be punished. Valerie replied. Wait, hold on for a moment. The cut on her hand is painful, so please have her treated. Duke said. Yes, her wounds are open. He is sorry. Let's get going. Valerie thought he really should not have believed the rumors. Then, at the castle, all the maids were happy that Duke has come back. Then suddenly, their attitude changed. Valerie thought it can't be helped. They are the ones who practically raised Duke. What should she do? Can she take her leave? The maids stated, Duke, why is he carrying Her Royal Highness like some sandbag? He should be more careful and delicate with her. She probably could not even voice her discomfort because of Duke's menacing look. Duke spoke. He thought it was fine since this is how he always carries Erlance. Sorry. It was uncomfortable. The maids said to the Royal Highness. She must have suffered because of Duke. They apologize in his stead. Valerie replied. No. He didn't cause her any discomfort. Rather, he is the reason she was able to come here so swiftly. One of the maids gave her handmade candy. Valerie thought she was worried for nothing. The maid saw a wound on her finger and then asked who did that to her. Duke stated he knew what they are thinking. But it isn't that, it's because of the music box. One of the maids stated she will have to call the Imperial Doctor. After some time, the Imperial Doctor arrived. Valerie thought Kana is a busy woman, so she knew they wouldn't call her over a little scratch. It's Beldor. She doesn't really like this man. In her previous life, she was in pain. The doctor said he used to be the Emperor's personal doctor. Why should he be here wasting his time? She is just a worthless princess with no power or connection. Now back in present time, the doctor said, His Highness's looks and physique are getting more flawless and brighter by the day. Duke replied, Enough with the flattery. Can he look at her wound? The doctor said he is about to start. By the way, shall he treat him before tending to Her Royal Highness? The swell on his cheek. It's an injury on his precious body. As for Her Royal Highness's wound, it won't hurt if he tends to it later. The maid said he is a total eyesore, but that definitely crossed the line. The butler replied he guesses that's it for him. The Imperial doctors are about to lose one. He hopes Duke doesn't get too angry. Duke said. Lecter, he replied. Understood, sir. The doctor asked, What is going on? Duke stated after looking down on the princess. He dares to say that. The doctor spoke. Didn't he regard Her Real Highness as an eyesore? Duke replied. He is trying to put the blame on him now. Even if he dislikes Valerie, does that change the fact that she is a princess? Tell him, is he in a position to mess with the imperial family? That's right. He used to dislike Valerie, but as he can see, that isn't the case now. Therefore, if anyone ever dares to look down on her in the future, he won't let it slide that easily. He will personally inform His Majesty about this incident, so shut his mouth and wait there obediently until he has given further orders. Valerie spoke. She is all right. She is used to situations like this, Duke said. Don't say that. He is not all right with it. Now his brother and he will be able to help her just like this. So she doesn't have to think it's all right. Tell them directly whenever someone treats her this way. By the way, he has thought about this for a while now. She is way too skinny. He should feed her a lot and make her gain weight again. The butler asked, Where did he get this bruise? Duke replied, It's from his own hand. The butler asked, Does it mean that he punished himself? Why? Duke replied, Because he felt apologetic for being mean to Valerie, so he reflected on himself. The maid said, Yes, he made a lot of mistakes in the meantime that are worth getting punished for. Those were the days when they were so worried about his future. Duke said, Aren't they being too reckless, if they are already giving him this treatment? Just how poorly would they treat him when their master gets replaced? This is making him sad. Butler asked, Did he just mention replacement? Duke said, They must have noticed by now. This child is their new master. She will be easier to attend to than him, so take good care of her. Both of them got happy that finally the palace will get bustling again. In the next scene, the maid spoke. Beldor, the doctor, was locked up in a remote prison after he was exposed for several counts of corruption. Anyway, she looks really cute today. Valerie spoke. Thanks for letting her here. But there is no helping it since most of her luggage has already been loaded, the prince stated. He will come to see her every day, Valerie replied. And on the days where he can't, she will be the one coming to him. After some time, Duke said, they just can't seem to rein it in, just for a moment, she will know soon. Then, after a few minutes, Duke said, they have arrived, take a good look. This is what these servants have prepared for her. Valerie stated, wow, and all of them started welcoming her back. Then, a 3-layer cake arrived. The chef told her he did his best for Her Royal Highness. Does this please her? Valerie was shocked. She thought she would not have to do this anymore, but judging by how his heart is throbbing, maybe that's not the case at all. Prince stated she is today's star, so enjoy it to her heart's content. Valerie thought yes, she is truly not alone anymore. Valerie said she was very surprised since she has never received anything like this before, not just the cake, but she loves everything they have all prepared for her. She is so happy she wants to commemorate this day as her birthday. Thanks, everyone, maids replied, saying how happy she is. Today is the best day for them too, glad they decided to do this. After some time, Prince spoke. He has decided this is the atmosphere in this palace. He thinks he can wholly entrust Valerie to them. Duke thought, did he forget the fact that he is the nephew while Valerie is his aunt? Duke asked Valerie if she is not burdened by this. Valerie replied, of course not. She is very grateful that they like her so much. Duke spoke, from now on, they will be by her side. They are good people, so she can trust them. Valerie said since he is the one telling her this, it's very reassuring. Duke stated now that he thinks about the music box. He was planning to get it fixed. He has found the best craftsman in the empire. Even if they try their best to fix the damage, it won't be as good as new. If that's okay with her, then leave it to him. Valerie replied, yes, please have it fixed. Then thought it can be fixed. She can play the music box again. Then at night, Valerie thought the tremors won't stop, but in this life, she definitely wants to protect her life and her family, the precious people, who taught her a different form of familial love compared to her past life. And he was the first to teach her this love. At the very least, she will protect him until the end. In the morning, Rael, her personal maid, asked if she got a good night's sleep. Valerie asked what she is doing here. Weren't she supposed to return to Fernand Palace? Maid replied she was absent yesterday because she is handing over a position to someone else. She is now at her service again. Valerie speaks she was so happy yesterday she was searching for her at the party. That would be nice to have her on my side. Valerie asked if this is really okay. Why would His Royal Highness attendant suddenly be here to serve a princess like her? Riel replied when she first came to the palace. She was the very first person to bathe her and see all the wounds on her body. She started to feel drawn to her, whenever she saw her, a timid child walking around, wary of her surroundings. And after spending a few days beside her, she came up to her one day, smiling shyly and thanking her. It's still fresh in her mind. She thought the princess was such a kind child. Hence why she wants to get to know her even more. That's why she ended up all the way here. Valerie replied, always stay by her side. Prince said this is great news. The next scene, Valerie thought she was pretty sure that she was only notified of the Empress and the tailor's visit. Duke asked what are both of them doing here. Emperor replied he came because the Empress said she is going to help Valerie fit into her dresses, so he can review all the documents here. Empress Lila stated this is something she always wanted to do if she had a daughter. She didn't know her wish would be granted like this. Valerie said she is fine with the clothes Lila brought her before. Lila replied no. Back then she only managed to buy ready-made ones since they were short of time. Since Valerie just settled into her new home, consider this a housewarming gift. Valerie thought, housewarming gift, but it looks like she carried an entire dress shop here. Then they said, let's get started. As expected, Valerie looks good in blue. This dress suits her more than the previous one. Emperor said this gold dress fits Valerie better. Bruno said he is being too much. Isn't gold the royal family's symbol color? Emperor replied Valerie is a part of the royal family after all, so what's too much about it? Duke said both of them know nothing. Valerie thought, now, it's over, then asked if she is planning on buying her all these. Lila replied of course they are. These are the clothes they have chosen upon serious contemplation. Now, then, the payment. Bruno said as the head of the Marquis family, he will handle the payment. Please let him do it. Duke spoke. Now if anyone is paying, it should be him. A big brother is buying his sister a few pieces of clothes. Emperor stated in that case, he thinks he is the one most deserving of this. Valerie will like it if he is paying. Lila spoke, then both of them have to do that. She has already taken care of the payment, she knew this would happen. Then she said, Valerie, today has been a long day. She is sorry, she got too carried away. Thanks for putting up with this. Valerie thought she has only been sitting down all day, so why is she tired? The next day, Valerie said she knew he was coming over. He is going to see His Majesty, Duke said before that. The weather is getting a lot colder, she will catch a cold if she walks around in thin layers. Valerie spoke, brother, she doesn't get cold easily due to her powers. Duke replied if she doesn't feel hot, then wear it as it is now. Valerie thought in this state. After some time, Duke said he will be able to devote time to preparing for the ice supply business. Actually, he has gotten a head start. The business will be operated under Heron Guild's name as they have agreed. Their main target will naturally be the markets in each region. The problem regarding Valerie's assistance with her power, just covering her up won't be enough, so he is going to issue a separate official entry for her. Emperor asked how is he going to justify it. Duke replied this is strictly confidential to the guild, so they can't reveal what it is. Then he said it's done. Valerie asked, come to think of it, both of them don't have any resistance or fear toward her powers. Emperor replied they were already past the stage to be scared, simply because of her inhuman power. Valerie asked past the stage. Emperor said he is only telling her this now, but actually, Erlance has powers too. Valerie was shocked. Emperor stated Erlance can have keen senses at times. At first, they thought it was just a coincidence. But that was not the case at all. That power is something close to having premonitions. It's the divine power of the God of Light. It's a present from the sun and light, and is gifted with powers of proficient clairvoyance. According to the Pope, Erlanerz's powers are derived from a fragment of light of God. Valerie thought. However, Erlance isn't the only one with powers, the timing just isn't right yet, so that's why she would always think he had sharp intuition. Then maybe it wasn't a coincidence that he suddenly appeared back then, the person she would resent, until her very last breath had been showering his love upon someone unconditionally. However, if that person was Erlance, so the child who had secretly been calling for light has truly been blessed by the love of light. Valerie asked if she can tell him about her powers too. Emperor replied, well, that's a tricky question. It would be safer to limit the number of people she tells to the least amount possible. She can wait a little longer to tell him. After that, Duke said he is just telling her in advance. She'll soon start attending classes like Erlance. It's about time for her to resume her studies. Valerie asked if he noticed that she was jealous of Erlance. Duke replied, yes, she will be very discreet about it, so he only figured it out a while ago. Valerie replied, yes, she also wishes to attend classes. The next scene, Emperor said he didn't even discuss it with him. Isn't it still a little early for that? She has not even had enough fun, and he is already sending her back to study. Duke said Valerie told him she wants to study. Emperor replied, then they will have to do it, then they have to discuss teachers. On the other hand, the ice supply business slowly settled into place as days passed. Under Duke's guidance, the business started to gain popularity. The next scene, Prince asked Valerie if she's going through puberty. Both of them were shocked. Duke asked who taught him those words. The prince replied he read it in a book. She always tries to bathe alone and lock herself in a room without coming out. Duke said Valerie just needs more time to adjust to her new environment, then thought Erlance isn't gullible enough to fall for this excuse, but he will still let it slide. The prince replied, all right. Duke said, oh no. The others must have arrived already. They hurry. Today is Valerie's first time at the family dinner. Then at the dinner, Duke said, "Apologize for the delay, Mother." His Majesty, Dowager said, "Child, come sit over here." Valerie thought this is her first time seeing our Majestic since the last time at the palace. Dowager said, "Try this first, the salmon is very tender." Valerie thought it's delicious. Duke said, "Mother, she has become quite the softy." Dowager asked, "What is he going on about?" Duke stated she never did this to them as children, always saying it's against etiquette. As they grew older, she told them to do everything by themselves, since she gave birth to them with functioning hands. Now that he thinks about it, it rather hurts feelings. Dowager replied, "He is too old to be getting jealous over his younger sibling. Is that how she raised him?" Duke spoke, "She is being especially mean today." Emperor said he never knew Matthias craved mother's affection this much. Is it because he doesn't want to lose his position as the cutest and youngest child of the family? Well then, he will take care of him as his big brother. Here, have some of these too. Don't forget to chew his food before swallowing. Then they all start laughing. Duke said, "Fine. Tease him all he want, just leave him alone afterwards." Dowager said she heard Valerie is getting a tutor. She should have taken her time before resuming her studies. Regardless, she believes Valerie will excel at it, but remember, she is holding a myriad of possibilities in her tiny hands, and it will help her become anything she wants, so whatever she does, don't feel burdened. And just take it easy, because impatience will only be a poison that leads her plans astray. After some time, Duke asked how does it feel to attend a family dinner for the first time. Valerie replied it was so much fun. It's a shame that it ended so quickly. Enjoying their time laughing together feels so nice. Duke stated it's nothing to be upset about. They will be having these dinners quite often in the future. Their family likes to have gatherings. There is something that is waiting for her at the palace. Valerie said it's already been repaired. She thinks it would take longer. Then at night, Valerie thought, "Wow, this music box was horribly shattered, but now that the broken parts in glass have been replaced, it's good as new." She is so glad she can relive this life again. The next day, Duke asked if she finished her class. Valerie replied yes. The teacher taught her with enthusiasm, so she worked hard to learn too. Duke said that's good, and he has all his work to clear out his schedule for a day off, because Erlance wants to go sightseeing with her, so she will come, right? Valerie replied, of course, she would love to. Duke said, so try to focus on the task at hand, since they can't have anyone walk in on us. Valerie replied, yes, then she will have to make 20 for today, and she made the ice cubes. Duke replied, nice, great work today. Her skills are becoming more refined by the day. The next day, Prince said she looks cute in any outfit. Valerie thought now that she is wearing this, it's finally hit her that they are going out. This is exciting. Then she asked her brother if he knows how to wield a sword. Duke replied, not really, but he brought it with him just in case. Don't rely on him too much, he only know the basics. Prince said father told him that uncle is better at martial arts than swordsmanship. Valerie thought he wears glasses. What is he an expert in martial arts? How unexpected. Indeed, his good physique can't be sustained without some form of training. Moreover, the current emperor has seized the former emperor's posthumous child throne, so they might have numerous enemies. She is sure her two brothers didn't get to enjoy a peaceful childhood. After that, they arrived at the capital's commercial market. Duke said, don't go running off on their own. If they happen to lose their way, stay where they are and wait. If a stranger walked up to them and asked them to go with him, don't follow them no matter what the reason is. After some time, they thought they could barely shake him off. Then they started browsing at different shops. Prince asked if he could smell something delicious and if he could get that. Duke replied, if he would like to try it, then try buying it with the money they have been given. Then they started buying and eating stuff, Valerie thought, an unhealthy flavor that she had never once experienced in her previous life. Prince said he wants to try that too. Valerie said, how can everything taste so good? Then they wondered where the money went. Valerie thought they should gift this to the people they cherish as a token of unwavering love. Duke said, choose one if she like. If she don't have enough money, he will buy it for her. Then both of them wore it. One was given to Duke, and 3 were left. The next scene, Valerie thought about the MacLeod Mountains. As the freezing cold took root in the center of the empire, it has instilled fear into its people for over 500 years. If her powers are exposed to the public, no one could afford to smile in her direction. Like this video. Hit the like button and subscribe for more videos.